Welcome to Tech Talk for Business Leaders. My name is Sam Ganga, and I am super excited to have Rob Fisher, who's our Vice Chair for Advisory, with us today to talk a little bit about everything technology and, of course, the top of mind topic today, which is AI. So, Rob, I'll start off with a really broad question here. How do you see the usage of AI evolving at our clients and our companies today in general?
Yeah, well, I think, we've kind of moved past that first phase, right? The phase of, getting the basic tools to be able to, just save 7 minutes here, 5 minutes there on specific tasks.
Yeah.
And, now we're moving into the world of agents.
Yeah.
And I think we're really early days in that journey. So right now it's, okay, we use this thing called the taco framework, as So at the lowest level, the T and the A, the taskers and the automators, I think we're there.
Yeah.
Where we're starting to use agents to complete a task, to help us automate something. And again, it's a little bit more of an uplift, but coming is the C and the O, right? The collaborators and the orchestrators, starting to really be that digital teammate that sits alongside the human and ultimately may be almost like an entire digital FTE that is taking on a series of tasks. And I think that's the journey that we're on, and it really helps you start reimagining, what the future of work is. I think we saw in one of our recent surveys that, our clients expect in the next 24 months, the competitive landscape completely changes.
Yeah, no, and I think that's, we're going to see that not just in terms of productivity improvement, but people are moving towards cost savings, revenue generation.
Right.
When you think about leaders who are going to be part of this transformation, whether they're technology leaders or whether they're business leaders, and we're seeing both involved, right? What advice do you have for them as they start embracing this new capability and figuring out how they, what we call reimagine business?
I think for me, what's been really helpful for me is our vice chair of AI and digital innovation, Steve Chase.
Yep.
He set us, we call our AIQ framework. And I think that's key, right? You have to have a framework for how are you going to go and start to tackle this challenge, because, we know that about 40% of boards are talking about this in every meeting. Another 40% are talking about it regularly in meetings.
Yep.
Boards want to know, if you're just scatter shooting with a set of innovations and this person testing this over here, it starts to get really disjointed, and you don't really have a strategy. So just applying it to our own business, right? We've said, okay, one, it's how do we operate? So how does AI impact how we operate? How do we use agents to change how we sell and market our services?
Yep.
How do we change how we deliver our services? So taking a 7-step process, decomposing it and saying, okay, steps 2, 5, and 7, those are going to be performed agentically now.
Yeah.
But then also another pillar that says, what about entire disruption of our business model? So while we're changing what we do today, we also need to be saying, okay, how are we innovating completely net new things? And, all these things live under a programmatic structure, which is super helpful, but then also has 2 other key elements, like the trusted AI piece, right? How do we make sure we're rolling out tools responsibly, that folks know what they're doing, they've got the right security, consistency, data quality, which are huge challenges. And then underneath it all, change management. Bringing the organization along the journey. And so having that framework, to me, I think every organization needs to think about what's their equivalent of an AIQ framework for how they're going to really bring AI into their organization.
Yeah. So when you think about organizations that are already on this path to implementation, you mentioned some of the challenges. You mentioned trusted AI. You mentioned things of that nature. What are some of the other challenges that you think are, challenges that organizations need to overcome as they think about this journey?
It's there's 2 basic challenges. It's the humans and the technology. It's kind of crazy when you think about it, right? The humans, it's a bit of a fear of the unknown, fear of the hype of what AI could be, and so bringing them on the journey, as I mentioned, helping folks understand, how does it, initially start to ride alongside and help you do your job more efficiently, but how are we giving you the skills to successfully work with agents, leverage them in your role so that you're able to pivot to other types of activities. Many of the things that we've said for years, like, will be great if, the people have more time to do X, Y, and Z. I think a really interesting example is, you and I are both familiar with that healthcare startup
Yeah.
that's using, AI imaging to get to diagnosis, get things down from days,
Yeah.
days to like minutes.
Minutes, yeah.
And so, what does that mean for that business? It's not that the humans go away. It's that the humans are getting, more time than they've, had
Yeah.
to have patient contact.
Yeah.
They don't have to spend as much time rifling through reports and
Yeah.
making those diagnoses. So when you think about healthcare, historically you would think, well, it's impossible to both improve quality and lower cost at the same time.
Yeah.
It's now possible,
Yeah.
right? If you have more human contact, but you're more efficient in how you get it, maybe you're even more accurate with the diagnosis that you're bringing. I mean, wow, it's a real win-win, and bringing your organization on that journey is huge. And I think the second piece is the technology. Or is it something like in one of our Q4 Pulse survey from last year, like 85% of our folks said that we talked to said data quality,
Yeah.
still their number one concern. So garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
But then the security, the privacy, just the consistency
Yeah.
as well. So I think the technology continuing to evolve and organizations getting more and more comfortable
Yeah.
with the outcomes. I
Yeah.
think humans and technology, we solved those two tiny little challenges and we're off to the races.
Yeah, it is a tiny challenge. Human in the loop is something we've always talked about, right? We've never said that AI is going to completely replace humans, which is a pretty big part of this. So first it was Gen AI, now it's agentic AI. How do you think agents are going to play out in the space? You touched upon it a couple of times in your comments, but how do you think agents are going to play a role? Of course, you talked about human in the loop, but I'm kind of curious as to see whether this is going to stick and going to be significant, or if it's just going to be another step in the journey.
Yeah. And I'll have to start off by saying, like, I reserve the right to be 1,000% wrong because it's really hard to know
We don't have
exactly how this is going to play out. Like, will there, I think there's one logistics example where, we've seen, an organization be able to deploy, agentic solutions that are dynamically like rerouting and actually driving revenue opportunities for an organization that would not have been there because a human simply can't move at that speed. But is entirely left to run that, or is there a human in the loop? Are there, so I think that the models have yet to evolve, and it's this balance between speed and opportunity, revenue efficiency with risk management and trust and security, because you can imagine the first time something goes horribly wrong, all of a sudden you'll see the pendulum swing the other way, right? So I think it's really hard to know exactly what it is, but what I do know is that organizations right now need to be experimenting with those taskers, those automating agents, and then moving up the curve to collaboration and orchestration and this idea of virtual teammates. And I think, time will tell exactly
where we go,
how it plays out.
One of the things we're seeing is young folks entering the workforce, and there's excitement and there's uncertainty both. How should they be thinking about their careers, their journeys, and frankly, the start of the journey, because this is a very uncertain time for them as well.
Yeah, I think it is certainly both daunting, as you said, and an incredible opportunity. And we just actually had this survey of our interns come out, and they are super comfortable about a future with AI. That's not the problem. It's how do you reconcile that with things like our historical apprenticeship model, coming in the office and learning, when a lot of the knowledge and learning can be gained just by interacting with AI tools. So I think what we've got to do as organizations is figure out, we're going to be getting kind of an AI native workforce now that comes through with people like us who are clearly not AI native. We're learning, but we are really good at the human side of things, the building of relationships, teaching, through experience, through showing, bringing someone to a meeting and allowing them to experience that and learning about how to navigate. So I think it's going to be on us that when they do come in, that we're getting the absolute best out of their capabilities
Yeah.
with AI, like they can make themselves smarter faster than we ever could about any business and
So
any
true.
aspect, any process that we might ask them to focus on.
Yeah.
But we have to then make sure we're bringing them into the conversation so they're getting the human side. We need to teach them how to be the human in the
In
loop,
loop. Yeah.
if you will,
Yeah.
in a business context, because I think they're incredibly good at being the human in the loop, at using AI for personal purposes, for academic activities, things like that. So I'm really excited for that kind of new wave of employee that's coming forward that is candidly going to be teaching us a lot,
So
but
that's exactly
we
what.
still have a lot to give them
Yeah,
too.
we do. Yeah, that's a fair exchange. I think that was a very authentic comment. I appreciate that because most people don't kind of realize that we don't have a crystal ball, right?
Yeah.
We can't predict what's going to happen. So,
Well,
but
people who know me know that I'm not smart enough to be able to predict things like that, Sam. So,
well, you did a
I'm
great
just
job
worried
here.
about people who see it and be like, yeah, no chance. So, I got to be straightforward about it. That the future is
Fair enough.
incredibly uncertain when it comes to AI, but super exciting.
Yeah, no, it
Right.
is.
And that's the most exciting thing is when you're at the precipice of something
Yeah,
and you don't
me
know, you actually don't know exactly where the future is.
yeah.
I think it's awesome.
I built a whole career on that, Rob.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for being here and sharing your points of view. Really excited about what we're doing for our clients and how our clients are embracing AI. So if you haven't already, click on the link below to subscribe to Tech Talk for Business Leaders. Thank you very much for joining us today.